Alright, so this is Harrison Red making my screencast for the week 2 summary. So this is, just to start out, this is my notebook. This is what I've been keeping track of everything in. I think I spent about like 9 hours, give or take, this week, kind of getting everything done. I set it up that I have the item, the description of what we did, and the hours that I spent on it. The last week, I know I didn't mention it, but I spent about, I'd say, 8, 9 hours. There's more than this, but that's because I was working. I was actually in Pittsburgh last week, so I had really bad internet connection, and it was really difficult for me to get a lot of this stuff done. But luckily, I think I got most of it done. If not, then I'll fill in the blanks when I get to them. But I started with the Arduino projects, if I'm saying that right. Um, this week. So my first one was just kind of looking at the board, getting everything set up. This is my board at home. Uh, this is when I got the light working. In order to make sure that it was working, I went to the Blink program and I changed the delay time so that it blinked faster, just to make sure that I actually was submitting the programs correctly. Um, the first project I did was just building the simple circuit. As you can see, I accidentally was using the really long wires instead of just using the shorter ones because I didn't realize that there were shorter ones because they were underneath like a piece of paper or something. So for the first couple projects, you'll see that I just was like bending wires and it was a hassle, but I got it to work, so that's the plus. This is when you had to have both switches going, the serial switches, and then the parallel switches were next. So one switch and then press the other switch and light turns on. It was really great kind of getting the lights to turn on, and it was a nice like experience to feel like that I had accomplished something. So then I got into the actual programming and getting some actual programming, making the spaceship interface. I thought I had a picture of it and I put the little thing on top, but I guess I don't. Um, it's a green light, then you press a button, they blink back and forth. My program for it is right here. I talked about in my with the answer to the brain question of how I would fix if you wanted to have both lights, the red lights flashing in the beginning, and a lot of it would have to do with this area, and it would be before the switch was even pressed when the switch state was in low, and then you know having the lights flash at that. And it would be adding in delays and changing the low to high and things like that. So I don't think it would be too complicated to make them both blink at the same time. Where was I? Here. So then next I did the temperature one, and the pictures are kind of blurry because I was taking the pictures with one hand while pressing the buttons with another hand and making sure it was working and not crushing it. I didn't get a chance to decorate it, but I would if I had the chance. But as you can see, I put my finger on it when it was at one light, and then it went up to two lights. I think it went up to a third, but I didn't get a picture of it. This one I took a lot of editing of the baseline temperature because it wasn't turning on, and I think because I had been outside and it's 100 some degrees out there, and then coming inside, that I don't think the pieces had cooled enough, so I had to make a lot of adjustments to the temperature to make sure that it was working correctly. So here's the program for all that, but it ended up working, and three lights ended up actually going on, but I didn't get a picture of it. Um, so next was the lamp, the color changing lamp. This one, mine turned like this purplish color whenever I turned it on, but then it would like shift to blue and to some other colors. It would always kind of stay around like a bluish hue with like purple and pink and different things like that, but I never would get any colors besides that. So I'm not sure if something was wrong there, but I tinkered around with it a lot and it kind of just stayed the same. So, but this was all the programming from that. And I guess from like what I got from doing all these projects was it was just kind of a really good learning experience to see, like how you can be hands on with this technology and actually make these circuits work and things like that. And it's just recently I replaced all the outlets and light switches in my house and like installed a bunch of new light switches and programmable light switches for my parents because they're getting a little bit older, and make it so they can be a little bit more forgetful about the lights and they'll turn themselves on. But it was like good to kind of do this more hands-on, like close, small wire tinkering than instead of like the big electronic stuff. Ooh, I'm just running through time. But it was really cool to get that hands-on experience and see like really how you can adjust and like change and make these lights and different resistors work and things like that. Um, I posted in 40 Humanity about just some different ideas that I had about like the mixing of the different dimensions of the person and things like that. And I also talked about how it seems that sometimes people in like religion don't want to hear like the direct truth of things, like the cold hard facts. So they want to more preserve the innocence, is what it seems, because that's how we act with like our children. So I posted a commercial that I thought kind of fit the idea. Nature science, I posted like 8 or 9 posts, kind of continuing a couple of them off of mine because mine, I guess, spurned a lot of conversation, which was nice. I was excited to actually see that people were like talking about it and like making a long discussion on it, which made me feel like I had really contributed something. Um, oh, that's the week 2 summary. That's not what I'm looking for. What was I looking for? Oh, the neat resource, which some people have already posted their summaries. Good job. The projects. But yeah, I think this week I enjoyed getting the really hands-on like work and kind of getting a feel for it, and it really makes like just the idea of electricity a lot more real when you actually put in the like wires yourself and then hit the switch and it lights up. And putting in the program's really interesting. I really like messing around with that. With the Arduino stuff that people posted, it was really cool to see the different things with like that you can do with the board. I really liked my own post about like the light heart because I know we're doing like a light theremin, so I think this is kind of like an expansion off of that. So I think that could be really cool. But I really enjoyed going through and like hearing some history about where it came from. There were a few different years on there, which kind of confused me about which was the actual year that it came out. But I like my story that I found about it being named after a bar and also after King Audouin from northern Italy. I thought that was kind of a cool idea. But I really liked, one of my favorite one was definitely the Christmas lights because I think that's amazing that they did all that with just like part of like using the simple thing that we have here. So it's interesting to see the technology that we have is going to be able to make some amazing stuff, and I'm excited to kind of tinker with it and make some new stuff, so long as I don't break it before we actually have to use it for the class. So maybe I'll just finish the class projects and then go into tinkering. But it's definitely been an exciting time. So I'm excited for next week, and I think, yeah, that's about it that happened this week. So that's all.